find Daniel Quimbaya. It may take some people some time to get that last name right, but he's been our friend for years.
I've been having all my life.
So he's now sober. We're both sober. So, but that always wasn't the case, right? That's what we're talking about here on the Next Fix. We're talking about addicts and alcoholics and how we're on to the next thing, right? We're on to the next addiction, if you will, and it's usually a beautiful picture of success. And so Daniel's here to share a little bit about that. But first, we're going to dive into, why or how he puts himself into that category as an addict, an alcoholic. So Daniel, let us know. What did it look like, man? What did you know? Shit, I've lost control. I'm no longer a functioning consumer of said substances.
Well, my past goes back as, my adolescence and, my parents divorcing and kind of being in high school and getting caught into, abusing alcohol. And
how old were you?
At that point, I was 18, 17, really started to, abuse alcohol on not just a consistent basis where it was the weekend thing, but starting to, you get a restaurant job and then it really,
it's around.
Yeah,
all the time.
You really get roped into it. So started really going down that path as far as drinking, and every time I had problems arising, falling into the wanting to drink to deal with those issues. And I had a lot of problems going through my different restaurant jobs that I was trying to hold on to, but I finally found a stable working job working retail at CVS. And I was really proud of having that job. I worked my way up. I met my wife there, and kind of putting my life together a little bit, but again, still functioning with alcohol. But I was really proud of having a stability with that job. And the moment that this stability came crashing down after being there for 6 years, and getting in trouble with the law in a period of a year of multiple times. I was put in jail because of driving. I got a DUI, and that's when it really started to make me wake up that I was like, I have an issue with drinking, because not only did it cost me my job, it caused me precious time with my family, because at that point my wife was having our second child, because it was 2012 is when I call it one of the worst years of my life, and it was just a culmination of just constantly getting in trouble for, poor decisions that involved alcohol.
Started stacking up on you, right?
Started stacking up on me.
Right. And so I think that what I keep running into are people that maybe they're not as familiar with how it does happen. It's a little fucking sneaky. It's not as clear as I saw this coming, even though looking back now, I feel there's plenty of signs, but you get tricked because of the condition, or because of your mental gymnastics to make things seem all right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I tried to convince myself several times that it's almost like making a decision to do something when you should have two hands on the wheel, and you're like, I'm just going to lean back and continue to try to do it my way, this way. And I had a lot of those moments where, again, it wasn't just the last time I was, thrown in jail and arrested, and there was that wake up moment, but it was constantly that was the tipping point. But understanding as I matured, I was there was so many signs that I could have seen that.
The case for I got this is getting weaker, right? It's like shit, I don't got this. It's very clear. I don't got this, and I need help, right? So it's an interesting thing, because it's not a pivot like people believe. I think this is from what my understanding of the common questions I get. It's so when was the turnaround time? you know? And it's like, well, you know, it should have been like countless times for myself, right? But it starts to build like this case that becomes undeniable, right? And then you're just like, you can't argue in your mind anymore that like, oh yeah, that was a tough weekend, or oh, you know, like it's just a little bit of cash, and you know, it'll be fine. It stops being fine, and so like that case for that, oh, I'm still in control, it gets weaker and weaker as you get arrested several times. Well, actually, how many times were you arrested?
several times from the time that I was legally, 18. I was in trouble with the law several times, but that specific year I was arrested 4 times, and I was in jail for a span 3 different times, a span of multiple days, with the longest being over 30 days when I violated probation because of something to do with driving, and then I was stuck in there for weeks, and that's when I really started to, again, I did the counseling thing. I had done other prior, rehab this or sit down and do that. I did try to attempt those multiple, eye-opening moments and experiences, but I don't know why it took a lot of stuff falling into place for it to really, understand the awareness to put down the alcohol.
Right. And it's so just so everybody knows, and people that have been in our circumstance, they're very clear. It's like there's awareness, right? So this goes back to the classic cliche, admitting you have a problem is the first step. Well, okay, yeah. So I put that into the bucket of awareness. It's like, okay, I'm aware now this is an issue. And so I've always envied people that have like a quick awareness.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got this hangover, and then I just, not for me. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, because it's, when I stack up how many times I should have been aware and I still wasn't.
Correct.
It's like, yeah, I was in a coma, I was arrested, my mom accused me of trying to murder her. It's like, you add up all these things for a person that's not been an addict or an alcoholic. They're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, how is this not very clear to you that this is a problem? But it's wild how our minds will and can, just like trick us into thinking like, oh, this is not just, it's not only is it not a problem, but this is the best decision I think I can make. Right? Like I'm gonna, like we were talking about before we started recording about how much resources and time he would, Daniel would spend.
Yeah,
right, like the Disney thing.
Yeah, spending. I mean, one of the things that my family would like to do was attend different theme parks, from Universal, Disney, and just the countless, bartenders that would recognize my face from me sitting at the bar at a Disney Springs or at one of the resorts, and just constantly spending more money on top of the money I'm already spending for us to be at the normal day at the park, or the normal food and everything. Just the constant spending of the resources and my time too, because there would be time where I would
you're ignoring the hell out of your family, right? They're all like waiting in line, right? The teacups, and you're just like,
this is a part of our day that Daddy has to stop at. All these different bars, or even if you go to specifically Magic Kingdom where you couldn't drink, I would have to stop, go out of my way to make sure that I was able to constantly have a drink, to make myself feel.
Did you tell yourself that? Like, did you tell yourself like, okay, I need to have this drink so I can do X, Y, Z?
Yeah, and that's where you start to see the awareness, I guess, is when there would be the multiple nights even down the road where I really started, being at the bar or driving home constantly by myself. Right. It's like I wasn't going out to hang out with friends, and this was a social aspect, or even sitting down with a family member. It was almost just I drink alone session to just sorrow in my problems, running away from emotions.
Right. Now those are like ways to perceive it, right? That shows your growth. It shows like where you're at now, healthy place. Correct. But at the time, it's always like some of the common arguments. You tell yourself like, oh, I deserve this. You know, I earned for the family. You know, oh, I paid for this Disney trip. I get to have it. But I earned. Yeah, the bread was the family. Of course, I get to have this relaxation. So the narratives that we tell ourselves are just, it's bonkers, man. Isn't it bonkers? And like now, it's like, you know, you look back and you're in a position of clarity, right? You start to know, damn, I was fooling myself wholeheartedly.
Oh yeah. I mean, even being on family trips, thinking back on, we would go on cruises or take, and you look back at the bill, when you settle up and you're just having a great time, and then you get home and a few days goes by and you look and it's just like Patron shop. You're looking at that itemized bill and you're like, how many times did I just at 3 a.m. You're looking at it and you're like, wow, this was a constant problem. Yeah, trying to recognize that. And this October is going on. It's going to be my 4th year of being sober, and it really does. It makes me reflect on.
Do you think that your clarity is increasing even like year after year?
Yeah, because I think now I've become more aware of understanding that the same problems that we were running away from, they still come up in everyday normal life. You still just have to. Now you have to deal with them more head on and become more of a mature person to logically deal with an anger emotion or a sadness emotion that comes through, instead of just, I'm going to go sit down, drink, do some drugs, relax, and kind of block those things out. Now I have to sit down and like, okay, this is going on in my child's life. I have to focus on this and actually deal with the emotion. I think that's been sometimes even the harder problems that make me want to, if I ever do get that itch to want to fall back into those bad habits, it's at my most vulnerable, which, losing a friend, losing a family member, or you when that emotion feels like it's so much, it brings me back to those points where I realized why I would fall into wanting to do that.
And so when you're telling me this, I feel like I started smiling, kind of like laughing internally, because you're talking about like, this is coping, and it's realizing now how shitty of a way it is to cope with anything.
Yeah.
It's like just a vacuum on all your resources. It makes you think less clear. It puts off everything until you're done drinking. So you've delayed your solutions. You've delayed handling the circumstance that's hard.
Right.
Now you've put yourself into this predicament of handling it. You're less able to handle it than you were before. But you're thinking like, oh, well, like I gotta relax and I gotta clear my mind. All this crazy shit. It's like, man, there's nothing worse you could do when you have a serious situation in your life that needs to be addressed than to delay it, and not only delay it, but make your mind worse.
Yeah, less reactive, or kind of just numbing it in a sense.
Right, and then depending on how bad it gets, you could really skew some things. I mean, if you really get hammered, you can really just turn something on its head, and now you've lost a touch of reality of what you were dealing with in the first place.
Yeah,
man.
I'm sad to say that. I mean, I've even been one of those men that pushed back against my wife, pushed my mother, under the influence of alcohol, just out of anger, and
Is that some of the darker? Is it some of the darker moments, or were there some times that like you just like? I mean, I know for myself, like there's so many damn moments I'm like, man, how the hell did I get myself into this scenario?
I mean, I crashed 2 vehicles. So I did put my life in danger. Those were really eye-opening moments. But I feel like for me, being so reckless at a young age, I was always, I didn't take my life, I didn't take it serious. So I would be very reckless. But then once I had my children, that's what really made me start to. So when they got to start to see me, one moment I remember I was really drunk one night. I was getting in an argument with a family member that was at the house, and you know, I'm fighting with another person, and just there's a lot going on. So the police came to my house and they asked me to leave because the owner of the house told me they wanted me to leave the area. So I chased down the car of the person that I was trying to fight at the time, running down the street with no shoes on, and I jump on the person's car windshield, and you know, my children are witnessing this, and that was again, just those moments where it's just like, so you know, putting myself in danger and not realizing it, and then understanding my life was now somebody else's, you know, like thinking about my children and understanding for my wife and for my other, you know, my mother, my family, that sometimes, again, we just don't even think about, that we put them even at, you know, my mom, my grandparents, God rest their soul, had to bail me out, or, you know, spend money on me and resources on me that they didn't need to.
Well, I believe wholeheartedly that they can see you. I say this because of my own circumstances. Like, I lost my grandparents, and they saw, my grandmother saw me get like pretty rough. Yeah. She didn't get to see me get better.
Right.
And so that's tough. But I believe they can see you now, and you know, like the change from who you were, man, into who you are now, and like you're so steady. When I see you, you're so steady, man. You're always just like, you always know what you're gonna get, right? And it's such a glorious thing. And now you mentioned something about that I think we should share, is that we had not everybody makes it, not everybody pulls it together, and we had a close friend, a mutual friend that we had lost. How long? David Hausterman was his name.
Yes.
And we lost him. When was it?
It was 2021.
Right?
Yeah, it was right. It was that July.
Right. And the absolutely morbid experience, top to bottom.
Absolutely.
And he was struggling with cocaine. He was struggling with alcohol. And you knew him better than I did. But I had several conversations with this guy. Great guy, big heart.
Yes, absolutely.
Killer guy, super funny, always great to be around. But he had his demons, and those demons were cocaine and they were alcohol. And so he had went missing. Yes. And I remember there was like a big, you know, collection of everybody trying to find him, and people were telling themselves a lot of stories, like, oh, he left town, and I knew how dark his heart was, and I know his struggles with the substances.
Yeah.
What did you? This sounds like a really fucked up question, but like, did you have hope that whole time that he was going to turn up, or?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like you know, for me, my relationship with David was like, again, he was like an older brother to me, and it, you know, it was rough that you were right there for me during that time, and yeah, it was a really rough time, but I held out hope. But there came a point, like the third or fourth day, that his father had called me, and I just remember like him telling me some stuff, and like I got off the phone with him that night. It was like 2 or 3 days in of him missing, or no, like into us knowing that he was missing.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started, like, the percentage of hoping, like, oh, he's just passed out somewhere and we're gonna find him, definitely started to the vapor started to slip away.
Exactly. Yeah, man, it was because I know we ran his credit cards, and he had been using his credit cards. It just started looking more and more bleak, and then so the catastrophe that had happened is that he had passed away in his car, and it was alcohol predominantly.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it was just an ugly scenario, and he left behind a son, and so I know Corey's been close to us, and you know, but it was, again, not everybody makes it.
Right.
And that's why it's such a blessing for the people that do eventually grab a hold of their circumstances in their lives and start to make a change. And it wasn't for a lack of desire, because I mentioned awareness. Yeah. He was aware.
Right. We were attempting constantly going. That's another like key step in me finally deciding to stay completely sober. Was the last moment and the last memory that I will ever have with David was going to we went to a church function for sobriety and hurts and hangups. It was a recovery program at the church, and that night, on a monthly basis, they would, you get to celebrate when you've been 1 month sober, 2 months sober. So that night was my 9th month of sobriety from being sober. And, it was really big for me that night. My wife was there, David was there with me, my children were there, but they weren't in the they were with the children's kids care. And just, again, we went out to dinner that night, but just the understanding of everybody struggles and everybody's trying to, find a way to balance their life, but bringing up other friends, David, it really does make you realize the way I really mourn him and cope with losing people like that is I understand that, again, they couldn't get out of their own way, and that's how well we do those mental gymnastics with ourselves to try to convince, I can do X, Y, and Z and continue to live the life that I would like to live around my parameters or the way that I want to balance it, instead of, being humble and, more compassionate to ourselves and giving us the way to become accountable. But I don't know, it really makes me think about that sometimes. It's like we just really can't get out of our own way, and that's why some of the people,
Yeah, you mentioning humility. I one of the major lessons that I actually take from spending so long in those dark moments is it was the lesson of humility was a big one for me. Yeah. And I was always I got this guy. And I think that God was teaching me a lesson through a lot of hard scenarios that I was like, it took me entirely too long to see that I didn't have it, and that just thinking that I was more capable than I am. It's releasing, releasing the power and believing in something greater than myself. I know that those are AA things. Yeah. You're not an AA guy, right?
No, I was the way that I was able to get things under control. I did go to some AA, but I wasn't a big AA guy. I was more of the, like I said, the celebrate recovery through the church that really helped me. I did have to do a lot of DUI, classes and stuff, which, again, I think that did help set the foundation. So anybody out there that is struggling with, you're currently going through a problem. I actually have somebody that I'm mentoring or helping out at the moment that's dealing with, again, just similar hurts and hangups, where, again, now he's the driving on a suspended license and, alcohol being involved, or driving around with stuff you shouldn't have in your car. If you're going through those things, at the time, again, the counseling, it's not resonating. But again, years later now, I'm I sit back and again, I think back at myself. There were moments where, again, I was trying to act like I wasn't paying attention, but then there was gripping moments. As an example, during that experience, I was able to meet a younger person, and he killed somebody in his scenario, where he was a drunk driver, and he actually murdered the person that he hit with his car. And having to hear his story, that still resonates with me today. So I know that was a help, along the way there with those
stamp, right?
Yeah, those counseling moments. Even though I was, trying to resist it, it did help.
Right. And so I know and I understand that your physical fitness, right? The both of us, right? We lean into that as as an element of of being healthy and recovered and all of that. Like, so, so what are you up to these days, right? And like, what's it looking like? Like, in Daniel's life, like, what are you thinking? Like, okay, these are some good milestones, some good stamps of how healthy you are, right? Like, I want to, people want to know about like what it looks like to not be a scumbag, right? So,
right. Well, one key point through the understanding, not to be a scumbag and change in your life with the bad habits is, like through my drinking and dealing with that, I had a health scare where I was having some very bad, like acid indigestion and, like where I was having, it's called Barrett esophagus, and I was having just like very bad problems going on within my chest.
Did you vomit a lot?
Vomitings, and when I was sleeping, I was getting sleep apnea. I was dealing with some stuff going on, and I had gone to the doctor a few times, and again I was gaining weight, and so they were telling me, you should start taking these normal everyday medications for people that have heartburn and stuff, and that started making me like, I'm not, I'm still like in my 30s. Why do I have to start taking this stuff? So started thinking of that.
And this is, you're recovered at this point?
This is during me when I'm still drinking and stuff. But it kind of gave me a point where I started thinking about my health a little bit more, like my weight and stuff, and the me wanting to completely get sober and stop drinking for good was during when I started the challenge 75 hard. That was the first time that I actually stayed sober for 75 days, like consistently, like not drinking.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, I'm sober for a few, because me and David would do that. So it's been a week, but I'm gonna drink this
a month.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, for that period in your life, it was an accomplishment.
It was huge. It was huge. Yeah, like just to try to make it from Friday to Friday, not pick it up or to the weekend. Yeah,
man. But now you run like a maniac, and I know this by experience because I tried to keep up with him, and he's pretty quick. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're running.
I do running. That's another kind of. I find ways to pick up little habits that I can start doing on a consistent basis that kind of brings, again, like helps me. Like I was mentioning to you, I know if I have to do something on a daily basis, I'm not going to want to eat horrible the night before. I'm not going to want to drink. I'm not going to want to, like some of the bad habits that I had in the past. So yeah, being consistent with running every day.
You did that other challenge, the David Goggins?
Yeah, 48, 4x4 by 48.
4x4, so explain that.
So then you're running every 4 hours.
Every 4 hours?
Yeah, for 48 hours, like 4 miles.
4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Yeah, for 48 hours for the 2 days.
I feel like I'm fucking this up. Like 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So the 4
by
48. Yeah, that challenge was good. And then I again, just running consistently on a daily basis has been a big help with keeping with my health and fitness. But to be honest, again, just making that a point in my life to understand how important it is to, you're not just going to work out to just lift some weights or run or walk or do something to lose weight. Realizing the mental connection and understanding what it does to actually be healthy, I feel like you become so much more clear-minded. So then again, with those decisions of I'm not going to drink, it almost like you become a little bit more susceptible to doing it because you're like the junk and the mental fog from bad eating or drinking. It really hurts you. So I feel like the working out has really helped clear my mind.
So what I distill from that, like what I'm pulling out of what you just said is something that I believe really strongly about, in that the wins compound, right? So when you put down the chocolate and pick up the apple, that's a win. it's a small win, and then it compounds, right? So you're all of those wins that they're like linked together. So like you went for a run, and then you're going for a run tomorrow, and then your diet for you specifically follows behind it because your diet falls in line with your goal for tomorrow to run.
Right.
And so that's wins breeding more wins, right? So it's like
Right.
wins beget wins. And so
Right.
I think that's such an underestimated element of it, because, Carl Jung, he says that we don't find God because we don't look low enough. And I think that that's a big problem because people, it's always so much bigger than we are. Oh, one day or maybe next year. All that's way too big. And so if you just like shrink it down to like, today or this hour or right now, I'm not gonna put it off. And then so what you can do is like just shrink that damn win into something you can handle, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you just make the next one slightly, a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. The next run is a little bit longer or a little bit faster. And then so I think that is so undervalued, the ability to just get some positive momentum. And so I think, and this is a gift, in my opinion, for people that are on the better end of recovery. They've got some traction in sobriety. Is that the whole damn thing doesn't work unless you get the small win.
Oh yeah.
Right? You got to start fucking somewhere. And so, all right, let me ask you this: what's like this? How short did you have to shrink your sober time to make it work?
I mean, again, just trying to stay because I was still drinking right when the pandemic had hit. You know what I mean? So even during that, when we were just, you almost were, hey, stay home. So I was dealing with that a little bit, and that was, you just trying to tell myself, don't. We're not drinking tonight now. Cause,
so like a day
specifically, yeah.
Right. So for me, it was so bad that I like. This is when I was working at like Home Goods. Yeah. So I was like 15 minutes. I'd have a bottle of vodka in my bag, and I'd say, okay, I'm not doing it. Like I had to drink to function, right? Because otherwise I'd be shaking like a leaf. So I would say, which by the way, I worked with his mom at Home Goods.
Yes.
So like,
I know the stories.
Right? So I would have a bottle of vodka with me, and I would say, okay, I'm not, it's 11 a.m. I'm not drinking till 11:30 or whatever it was. Yeah. And I would fucking fail. I would be in there, and I'd be like, oh, damn, now I've gone too far. I'm a little bit too drunk. And I'm like, now what do I do? And so that time frame was, for me, got down to like 15 minutes, which is sad. Yeah. Because there's another element to that. You don't get to brag at the beginning. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing. Yeah. So who the hell is going to cheer you on in the start? Nobody really. Yeah. So it's fucking hard, man. But the reason why I bring all this up is that like it's built into people that have gotten traction in sobriety is the small wins. Small wins. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's built into us because we had to have. That's the only way it gets done. It's the only way that it gets done. So. Yeah. But how else are you winning these days, right? Like, what?
Well, just trying to be honestly a better individual, like around my children. Just kind of raising better children. Like setting a better example for my family. Small wins within my business. I run a small business, and small wins within my relationship with my wife. Just trying to again just be a better husband, be a better brother to my to my brother or my sister and to my mother, and also to be honest, just continuing to want to be a better again like friend and individual. As I mentioned, I've been trying to help other people that have been dealing with problems. It's huge. And I find that that's been very rewarding. It's just being able to kind of, because again we're most likely. It takes ourselves to finally figure it out, but again, just speaking truth into some people sometimes can help them give a step ahead. So those are definitely things that I'm focusing on, and then always just my working out and staying fit. It's a very big importance to me me to want to continue to run, continue to.
And you're sharing this on Facebook? Well, what's your Facebook page? Just
yeah, share on Facebook and Instagram. Just my name, Daniel Quimbaya.
Daniel Quimbaya. But yeah, he's definitely, you're definitely an example. And I think that you've been setting that example for some time now. It's like we're in some of those smaller circles in the local area, right? And I know that, again, what I had mentioned before, like now you are this guy all the time.
Right.
You can count on you. You always show up. Like that's huge. It's huge, and so we know so many people, man, that they're still struggling to link those days together where they show the fuck up. And, it means a lot when somebody does show up.
And to be honest, like just understanding that when you start stacking up those small wins, you really start to build a confidence within yourself where, again, like there's so many other challenges that are going to come up that through that confidence, you'll be able to step into that confidence in a situation where you just have to, again, go to Publix and run into a person and have a social conversation, because that's hard for some people, you know, just to even do those things.
It was hard for me, man, because I'd be hammered drunk and it's 11 a.m. and they're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I got to go.
I don't want to look like
this. Yeah. That's, you know, I touch on confidence. You mentioned confidence. I think that so many people, young people, Canada, like my nephews, so like they misconstrue confidence, and I believe that the best definition of confidence that I've heard is that confidence comes from the promises you keep to yourself. So you when you're on time and you show up and you don't drink or you complete a run,
right?
All these like little promises of like, hey, I'm not going to eat that. And again, undervalued is like you do this, and that promise tells yourself you're going to keep the next promise. Right. And for somebody that's an addict and alcoholic, you've broken all of the promises to yourself, and so confidence is gone because you basically lied to yourself. You're lying to everybody. So it's a very tough scenario. But the confidence is built by just keeping a promise, showing up to whatever it is. You know, some wins, you know, can be perceived bigger than others, but like, however it looks, right? You don't start that process of confidence building and getting those wins, and, you know, nothing happens. And it's that's a scary scenario. But for you, brother, like, again, man, I was so excited to have this talk with this guy. You know, like, we've been in the same neighborhood. We're down here in Florida. You know, Florida gets its rap. Some of it's deserved, some of it's not. You know, but here's two Florida men sober these days. And, you know, where should anybody check you out if they want to see like what you're up to?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook mainly. That's
right. And I challenge anybody, go ahead and try to keep up with this guy. He posts his runs, he posts his workouts. Like, you know, if you want to keep a promise to yourself and build your confidence, try and keep up with this guy and what he's putting down out there. It's impressive. And I have suffered said challenge. How far did we run? 10K?
Yeah, we did it that day. It was like over 6 miles.
I was moving. I was like really moving. I was training for a race, and I looked behind me, and he was just kind of being kind, just like trying not to like outrun me, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, we were moving.
I even left you. I just left and went home.
Yeah, you were like,
and it just 6 miles, and I was like,
we're ready.
Yeah. But anyway, nonetheless, check out my boy. Go by on Facebook there. But I'm grateful to have him on the next week's podcast. I'm also grateful for everybody that's found success in sobriety. You know, please reach out. You know, we're finding my rock bottom recovery. You guys, until the next one.